All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. NFL football week number 5. We're going to jump into the Sunday games today. If you don't know, we do a separate video for Thursday night football, a separate video for Sunday night football, and then a separate video for Monday night football. So in this video, we're going through the core Sunday slate here. We're going to go through each and every game. I'm going to give you my lean or leans on the games, but all of my final plays will be in the pinned comment. So if you do want to fade me, what I'm actually rolling with myself, those will be in the pinned comment. I update that throughout the day and throughout the week, and always by game time are my final plays in there if you are looking for them. So go ahead and check that out, guys. Hit that subscribe button as well. Hit the like button. You guys have been going nuclear lately with the new subscribers, liking the video, the comments. Keep that up, guys. You guys are absolutely motivating the hell out of me. We're putting out tons and tons and tons of content, obviously, but you guys make it so worth it. So hit that subscribe button if you're new, like the video as well. Let's go ahead and jump into game number 1 here. We're looking at it across the pond over in London. We got Buffalo taking on the Jaguars. Yes, Buffalo is slated as the home team, but the Jaguars, second week in a row now that they've been over there. I would say this is probably going to be more of a home game for them. Buffalo 5.5 point favorites, total sitting at 48.5 right now. And while I can entertain the Jaguar side of it, they've been there, they're a hungry team, they look good last week, I still think Buffalo is literally head and shoulders above this Jaguars team. So I'll take Buffalo minus the 5.5 points. Again, it comes down to talent, but I can entertain, and I get the take of, well, this is going to be a home game for the Jaguars. They're more comfortable. They've been there. Buffalo had to, time zones, all that. I get it. I just think that this Buffalo team, from an offensive perspective, is miles ahead of where this Jacksonville Jaguars team needs to be. And then defensively, they're really one of the best defenses in the entire league. So comes down to talent. I think that if this was maybe a 7.5 point spread, I could be thinking differently, like, the Jaguars catching a touchdown plus here. But the fact that just it could be a 2 field goal game and Buffalo takes that one, I like it. I also don't mind the over 48.5, simply because that Buffalo offense, I don't think the Jaguars are going to put up all that many points, but if Buffalo just does what they've been doing the last few weeks, which it's a tall task, 38 points, 37 points, 48 against Miami last week, if they can go out there and score 30 points, then I think that this has a really good chance of, them pulling their weight in Jacksonville, just having a few scores in there and making this total possible here. So I slightly lean towards that over. I like Buffalo minus 5.5 points. The only thing that would keep this potentially off my final picks here would be the fact that Jacksonville's been there. It seems like a letdown spot for Buffalo after the huge Miami win, that type of thing. But I still think the talent is obviously skewed way in favor of Buffalo. Next up, we have the Falcons taking on the Texans here. Atlanta at home, minus 1.5 is the spread we're looking at currently. Total sitting at 41.5. I like the under right away. I think they have an Atlanta defense that is slightly underrated. They haven't looked all that great, but I think that they can play better football than what we've seen, hopefully, because that would help the under here. And then you have Houston, who I think they're due for a letdown sort of scoring spot. Like this team, they're kind of galvanizing some troops here. People are starting to be like, oh, like Stroud and they're electric and they're beating teams. It's like, well, they caught Jacksonville on a terrible week, right? They won, 37-14 or something like that. Then they played Pittsburgh, who I don't trust Pittsburgh as far as I could throw the entire offensive line. So I don't really buy what Houston's selling right now. Could they prove me wrong? Yes, but I still don't think they're that good of a team. So I like the under. I think it's going to be a sloppy-ish game. And I don't mind Atlanta at home here, only laying 2 or 1.5 points. So I don't really like this matchup altogether. You could probably tell by my voice, but if it's going to be a muddy, crappy type of obviously not muddy, it's an indoor stadium, but if it's going to be sort of that crappy type of football, right? Muddy football, I think that the under has a good chance of hitting. But keep an eye on the pinned comment to see if we have anything going here. Again, I'm right there in terms of what I like in this spot, but I just don't love the matchup, so it probably stays off, and I punt this one away altogether. All right, Detroit, Carolina, and I'll sound the psycho alert alarm right away. I don't know how or why, but I do like Carolina plus 9.5. I think it's just too many. So it's more or less fading the point spread for Detroit here. I know they're good against the spread team. They're 3-1 this year. Carolina's yet to get a win. They're 0-3-1 against the spread also. But 9.5 points seems like it's just a little bit too much. And I haven't been impressed with Detroit. I know we have a few Detroit fans. I read them in the comments last week. I'm not knocking this team. I just want to see, I think if they don't win week number 1, I don't know if they get this high praise that they've been getting. So definitely an interesting thing and storyline to see how this Detroit team progresses, because for whatever reason, I'm not fully sold on them. I like them. Electric coach. Hutchinson's great. I get the allure, but To me, 9.5 points seems like a hell of a lot. So again, we sounded the alarm. I know this is a crazy one. If you do want to fade it, feel free. But give me Carolina plus the 9.5 points. In terms of the total, it is a low number, it seems. Detroit here obviously has had a couple high scoring games last game, notably 34-20. I think I like the over. If I think Carolina's going to stay in this game, I don't think that they're going to stay in sort of a back and forth type of one in the trenches game. I think this is going to be a high-ish scoring game. So I'll slightly lean towards the over as well. But it's weird. I can't believe I'm saying a Detroit-Carolina game. I like Carolina and over. That's absolutely crazy to me. But nonetheless, guys, those are the leans on the games. That's a crazy one. All right, before we continue on with the slate, I do want to shout out OddsJam, guys. OddsJam has tons of sports betting tools to help people like you and me beat the books. You can get 7 days free with the link in the pinned comment. You can also use code GUYBOSTON when checking out and get an additional 25% off your first month. Let's go in and jump into a couple of their tools that I love. They have the Positive EV tool, which identifies all the value in the market. For example, you can look at Minnesota versus Michigan, right? Football, college football. Minnesota at plus 900 over on Caesars. Average odds here plus 783, so you're getting the best price and best deal possible. Always important to compare sports books, guys, and the prices and the lines that they have, because why would you buy a car for 20 grand if you could walk down the street to another dealership and get it for 15 grand, right? You always want the best prices. And when you're talking money here, here's an example of their arbitrage betting tool as well. If you don't know what arbitrage betting is, you can use multiple sports books to take both sides of a bet and guarantee profit no matter what. Here's Georgia versus Kentucky, first quarter money line, minus 330 on FanDuel, plus 350 on DraftKings. Georgia on FanDuel, Kentucky on DraftKings. If you put $100 on Kentucky over here and you put 345.35 on Georgia, you'd guarantee yourself about a $5 profit no matter what the outcome is. And it's great that they do this math for you, because I wouldn't be able to do that math, but you can pretty much say either side how much I want to put down, and all of a sudden it tells you what to do on the ladder sportsbook there. And again, it's guaranteed profit, very scalable. And if you are a daily fantasy sports player, they also have the Prize Picks Underdog Parlay pay. They have the optimizers there. So a lot of cool tools over on OddsJam, guys. I use this tool every single day, and it's really, really lovely. Lovely is a good word, to get the best deal possible. When you hit a nice pick and you got plus whatever odds, and you know a lot of sportsbooks had worse odds there, no better feeling in the world. So go check out OddsJam. Link in the pinned comment for 7 days free. And also, if you do choose to go and continue with that subscription, use that code GUYBOSTON to get 25% off your first month. Let's go ahead and jump back into the games here. All right, Indianapolis taking on Tennessee here. Indianapolis right now, plus 2.5 point dogs at home. Total sitting at 43.5. I think I saw 42.5 out there on a couple different sports books as well. I like Tennessee here. The only thing that scares me is the fact that they're coming off of a nice win where they pummeled the Bengals. We haven't seen a consistent Tennessee team yet. So it worries me that they had a good week last week. Derrick Henry ran for 1,000,000 yards. We have a play with him included in our parlay of the week video. If you guys want to check that out, it's already posted on the channel. But nonetheless, yeah, this is all Tennessee to me all day long. I don't know about laying the 2.5 points. You're getting minus 110 odds there. You can get minus 125 over on DraftKings for money line. So that may be something to consider. They have won 2 of their last 3 weeks, so maybe that speaks to consistency, but I still haven't seen the same Tennessee team week in and week out. Like they beat the Chargers 27-24, right? And they followed up with a game against the Browns in which they lose 27-3. You know what I mean? Like that's not very consistent. And then they win 27-3. This team is a good team if they get out to the races and kind of hold a lead. I don't see Indianapolis's defense really being able to stop Derrick Henry and plenty of other things that Tennessee has to offer. So I'll take them on the money line. In terms of the total, 40, I think 43.5 may be a little too high. Like I said, it's already moving towards 42.5, but I think this game finishes more around the 39 range. So yes, only a couple points of a margin there for error, but I think this is a low scoring game. Again, Tennessee, I don't know if they put up 27 again, and we've seen Indianapolis actually score a decent amount of points pretty much all year long, 20 plus in every single game, and they've allowed almost 20 plus in every single game, 19 I think it was against Baltimore there. I think everyone's due for a little bit of scoring regression here. So I'll take the under as well. Keep an eye on the pinned comment, see what becomes a final play. I could totally see Tennessee honestly being a decent spot for a final play here on the money line. All right, next up, we have Miami taking on the Giants. Miami, huge favorites here, rightfully so. Minus 12.5 at home. Total sitting at 47.5 right now. Giants 1-3 on the season, 0-4 against the spread. Miami 3-1 on the season, 3-1 against the spread as well. Undefeated at home. They obviously took the bad loss, which they were due for against Buffalo last week. They lost 48-20. I think you have a hungry Miami team coming out here against a bad Giants team, a beaten and bruised Giants team. Saquon's still questionable. We don't know if he's going to get the go. I hate laying 12.5 points. That's a lot, but I think this could be a 13.5 point spread. So there's a little bit of value there as well. But yeah, give me Miami. I don't know if it becomes a final play because even though I think they're one of the most explosive, if not the most explosive offense in the league, 12.5 points is a lot to lay here. And who knows how they read or how they react, I should say, to that Buffalo loss. I think they come out even more explosive and they drop a big number on the Giants, right? But they could also be like, okay, a little rattled, Tua doesn't know how to handle, like that type of thing. I'm hypothesizing here, but I'd like to see them prove that they can kind of bounce back before I go and bet 12.5 points spread on them. So I'll lean that way, but I think I stay as a lean. What I really don't mind in this spot is an over 47.5. I don't care if the Giants don't carry their weight or anything like that. I think Miami, even in a bad week like they had last week, and it wasn't even that bad, 20 points. It wasn't great. They obviously got crushed, but I think any sub 50 total that you can catch with Miami in the game right now, I think is worth taking a look at. So I'll go ahead, because they don't have a good defense either, right? They're one of the, I think, last week didn't really help skew in the data, but I think they're bottom 5 in terms of points allowed this year as well. So I do think that there is a level of maybe the Giants finally have some luck in terms of scoring, and you know, we see more of like what they did against Arizona, which was that comeback. But since then, they only scored 12 points and 3 points. So taking it over here is tough. Luckily, we have the most point scoring offense seemingly of all time, right, on the other side that can kind of carry the weight. So give me the over as well as a slight lean towards Miami laying the big points. All right, the Patriots taking on the Saints. Talked about this game in my parlay of the week video. Also, go check that out. I shouted out the Derrick Henry pick, and also now this one I did I did lay the points as the Patriots. Actually took them on the money line, which I still like. It's pretty much a pick 'em right now. Minus 115-ish odds is your best bet over here on the money line. I think I actually saw minus 110 on some sports books too, so that's good there. They're still favored, which is weird. I think it's like minus 105 for New Orleans. I think that they bounce back here. They're great after a loss. The only thing is, and I'll admit this as a Patriots fan, this team stinks. They stink. Can they turn it around? Maybe. They have the best coach of all time. I get it. But Mac Jones doesn't look like the it guy. They're not using their guys. Their wide receivers aren't getting separation. The running backs, sure, you could say they look good, but behind that offensive line, who even cares? So this is tough. I just don't think that this New Orleans team is all that much better. You have the Patriots at home after a loss. All the writing's on the wall for them to be able to come out here and bounce back. That Dallas game was literally disgusting. New Orleans is coming off of a game that didn't look all that much better, but I don't think that they have the coaching that the Patriots have. So I'm hoping Bill makes some adjustments and everything like that, and they beat a team here, that they should beat. I like the Patriots in this spot. This is not a very good Saints offense. The defense is good. I'll give them credit there, but this total's all the way down at 39 and a half on some books too. Rightfully so. I think that this is a sloppy game, like an 18-17, 6, like that type of spot. So I'll take the Patriots on the money line, and then obviously given that point total that I predict, I like the under here as well. May the best of the two worst teams win, right? That's kind of what I'm thinking. All right, Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore, and I like the Ravens in this one. I think a lot of people are going to be on Pittsburgh catching the points at home in what, I don't want to, I guess it could be two hard-headed teams, gritty teams, rivalry type spot here. I just don't necessarily see the what is so emphatic about this Pittsburgh team. The defense, I can understand that. A bunch of playmakers on that defense, still allowing plenty of points though. This is a very underrated, I think, defense from the Ravens side of things. So immediately I jump to the under as well. Ravens and the under in this spot. I think it's going to be a grindy type game. But Baltimore, they looked good last week against Cleveland. You guys called me crazy in the comments taking them as underdogs on the money line. They smoked Cleveland, right? 28-3. We also saw Pittsburgh play this Cleveland team as well. They won 26-22. So you have a common opponent there that I would say both these teams played against, and one looked a hell of a lot better than the other. Same thing with the Texans. They both have played the Texans too, right? Baltimore winning 25-9. Pittsburgh plays the Texans last week, lose 30-6. I think that this is a team in which Baltimore is just a better team overall. Will Pickett, start to play well and all that. I do think he's good. I think he has what it takes to be good, but Lamar Jackson can run for 1,000,000 yards on you all day long, no matter who the defense is. So I'm going to take Baltimore. I think they're a little bit more dynamic here. Yes, they have injuries that kind of, have shot themselves in the foot, but as long as Lamar Jackson's playing, I think that that's a safe play here. So give me them laying the points on the road. Again, I like the under here as well. I think it's going to be a really game that's won within the trenches here. A lot of ground game, which will let that clock tick, tick, tick. Give me the under. All right, Arizona taking on Cincinnati. I don't even know if we have to talk much about this game because this is just like a must-win for Cincinnati. They should win this game as well. They've been terrible. We talked about with Tennessee. Tennessee stomped them 27-3. Arizona, one win on the season as well. That was against Dallas, which was just absolutely crazy. But let's not forget that this Arizona team is bad. Like, Cincinnati has been playing bad, but Arizona's actually bad. I don't think that this is I don't think there's a chance, or they should be feeling like they cannot lose this game. Obviously, playoffs, most likely not looking great for Cincinnati here, but this is almost a must-win game. Like, their season seems to be on the line if they lose this. If they go 1-4 for the first 5 of the year, oh my God, like, what are we doing? I don't care if, Burrow's not fully healthy or the calf and all that, or if Jamar Chase is, I'm always open. I'm always fucking open is his quote. Guys, they're way better than the Cardinals. I hope I don't have egg on my face next week when we look at this game back. But they are so much better. And the fact that they've been so bad is the only reason why they're only laying a field goal here. So give me Cincinnati. Is it a public kind of square pick? I think so. I'm sure everyone's in the same mindset as me. Yet, Arizona may put up a better fight than we think. But Cincinnati cannot lose this. I just cannot see that happening. In terms of total, 44.5. I'll slightly lean towards the under. Don't really love much of that, but again, we have not seen much consistency out of the Cincinnati offense, and I don't think Arizona is all that good. So regardless if the defense plays well or not, on either side, I don't think that they have the offensive explosion that you're going to need to get 45 points in this spot. All right, Rams taking on the Eagles here. Head-to-head in their last 6 games. We're dating back, obviously, plenty of years here, but the Eagles have really owned this matchup. 5-1 against the spread against the Rams in their last 6 meetups here. In their last 10, so even back to last year, you could say, too. This Eagles team looking really good stats-wise. The thing that worries me is that we see a 4-point spread. Like, I would think the Eagles would come into this as a little bit more, maybe 5.5, 6.5, which is obviously where the line has been, but it's definitely ticking down a little bit. So interesting to note there. I still think this is very similar to, I guess, the Buffalo and Jacksonville game where one team just has way more talent than the other. The Rams have young talent, I get it, but this Eagles team is a different beast. When they get their wide receivers going and Swift going as well, they're going to be an unbeatable team, just like people thought that they should have been. They're still 4-0, 2-1-1 against the spread. Like, I feel like they're not talked about as much as they probably should be right now. So give me the Eagles laying the points here. The only thing that I think that, could trip us up here in this pick is the fact that they're kind of due. Like, the Eagles are due for a loss. The Rams are due to kind of have a stretch of decent football. They had to hang on to that win last week. They win 29-23 down to the last second pretty much down to the last second against Indianapolis. So both teams are kind of due for the Rams to win this one, but I just cannot do that. I don't think that's a smart play today. If anything, maybe you stick off of it if you like the Rams or you don't like the Eagles, if you need juice in this game, that type of thing. But I do think that the Eagles are just head and shoulders the better team overall. I would take them in this one, minus the 4 points. I could see this in some sort of a same game parlay too, just have them win and then, looking at the total as well. But they are the fifth best offense in the league. And then the Rams, their defense is like, middle of the pack, 16, 15 in terms of points allowed. So I just don't see this deal or if the Rams today. Give me the Eagles here, minus the points. In terms of the total, 50.5, it's up there. That's a big number. I do think that we see a Rams offensive sort of like they take what they have and build some momentum from last week. So they scored a decent amount of points. And if that means that, the Eagles have to go out there and score more points, we know they're capable of that too. So I'll take the over, even though this is a very high number. We've seen the Eagles drop so many points as of late. 34 last week, 34 in week number 2. Their lowest point total so far has been 25, and they've done that in 2 weeks. So if they can do their half, we need the Rams to have a little bit better of offense than they've had in the season. Just take some momentum from last week. I'll take the over. Kind of crazy at that high number. All right, we got Denver taking on the Jets here, and I laugh when I say this because this is just another bad spot here, but I do have a side that I like here. I like Denver for 2 reasons. I think that eventually Russ has to cook, but now I'm starting to be like, is he ever going to? I do like it. I like this spot for them at home as well. And then the second kind of reason is if you watch H to H, the show that I do with Tassos here on the channel, where we battle it out and we go back and forth in a draft style for our picks for the week, definitely go check it out, guys. It is on the channel. He did select the Denver team for me in the fade me round. If you don't know what that means, go watch the episode. But I kind of got to ride with Denver in this spot, but I like it. I think their offense at some point is going to click. They've been scoring a decent amount of points. Last week, they came from behind. That's got to be a little bit of momentum building, finding some stuff in that offense. The only thing that concerns me is, and it's a legitimate concern, is that, well, you're going up against a defense in the Jets that, they are a good defense. They are. So I think that this is a spot where they might make it difficult for Denver to score, but I think that if they pull anything from last week, it's that, okay, we can trust what we got going on here, and we can go and score some points. But on that same note, in terms of the total, like, yes, I recognize the Jets have a good defense, but we're talking one of the worst defenses in the league for the Broncos. So I think it's silly to look at an under. I'm going to have to lean towards the over in this spot just because of how bad the Denver team is defensively. Like, they have allowed, and yes, no kidding, that 70-point game kind of hurts them when you look at statistics and averages, right? But they've allowed the last 3 weeks 35 points, 70 points, 28 points. Like, they're allowing points out the wazoo, and that was against the Washington Commanders, obviously Miami, and then the Bears. The Bears on Sunday looked good offensively, right? And then they look good offensively on Thursday night too, which is interesting. But either way, it's like, this is such a bad Denver team that I want to take the under, because I want to take the under betting on the Jets defense. I love them, but you just can't. Like, you have to look at the over. It'd be silly to look at the under with this Denver team in the game. All right, Minnesota taking on Kansas City for the final game of the video. If you guys are still watching, comment 20. Let me know that you're watching. You're a real one, guys, not a guppy. Comment 20 if you're still watching. That would be crazy all the way through this. I still get, even when someone watches for 5 minutes, I'm like, damn, I'm the luckiest person ever. Like, how you listen to this schmuck for 20 minutes is beyond me, but I appreciate the hell out of it. But like I said, Minnesota taking on Kansas City. Minnesota getting points at home here. Plus 3.5 is the total, or the spread right now. Total sitting at 53. I don't mind the over. It's a high number, but I don't see either one of these defenses being all that great. Minnesota, obviously their defense, they've been allowing plenty of points here. Kansas City should be able to put up a decent amount of points against that defense. And then Kansas City's defense, yes, their numbers might look good, but they've played some offensive sort of stagnant teams. Detroit, then Jacksonville had nothing going on, then Chicago, then the Jets. Like, when they play a team that, yes, I know Minnesota's struggling. I know that they haven't had the best of years, but they have weapons. They have a decent offense. I'm curious to see how they fare against Kansas City. So I don't know where I come out on a spread side here, but I do like the over. I think both these teams should be able to put up a decent amount of points. Kansas City's defense, like I said, stat-wise is going to look good, but based on opponents, I just don't really see it. Then Minnesota, in terms of the spread pick here, I want to lean Minnesota, but for whatever reason, I'm thinking it seems too easy, right? Like, Kansas City's a really good team. They should be able to just mop the floor with Minnesota, but Minnesota's at home, kind of needs wins. I guess I lean Minnesota. It's tough to do, though. But yeah, my main lean in this game is going to be 52.5. Taking that over, I see it at 52.5 now on FanDuel, so that's good. Even FanDuel, we're getting a half a point there, which can obviously matter. So yeah, long-winded, but I like the over. I like a lot of offense in this game. In terms of the spread, I lean Minnesota, I guess, but I doubt that becomes a final play, because I can easily see Kansas City coming in here being like, we were only 3.5-point favorites. What? So guys, that is going to wrap it up for today's video. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, watch all the other videos that we are pumping out on the channel. Would appreciate that. And yeah, we'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, let's stay profitable. Off to a really good start in the NFL season, but I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, peace out.